So I told you I had just a stupid hot take for this, and
Ready.
this is a good moment for it. I know there are a lot of reasons to change conferences, and that football doesn't dictate everything that goes on in university. However, Andy, is it
Just
possible?
most of everything.
Just most of everything. Andy, do you think it's possible, in some small or large way, that at Oklahoma and Texas, part of this is motivated by saying, you know what? Nick Saban can't coach forever. What if we could run college football for the next decade by getting into this league?
It's entirely possible. Oklahoma has a very good coach who's very young. Think about that. Think about Lincoln Riley in his 20th year at Oklahoma. If he's been in the SEC for 13 of those years. Suddenly, that feels like a pretty formidable opponent. I mean, he's already a formidable opponent, but think about that. Because if he can win, I don't know that he wins at a similar clip because obviously the competition level becomes tougher. But they have shown a willingness to compete with whoever they need to compete with. And here's the other piece of it. Texas has always had its nose in the air about the SEC.
Sure.
The thought has been they will never go to the SEC because they feel like
because
they
win with
bring
integrity
themselves down to the SEC's level in recruiting. Well, with NIL now, look, you can give money to the players. Mm-hmm. Your boosters can pay your players. They're not supposed to pay them to pick your school, but once they get there, they can give them whatever they want. So
they will.
Yeah, of course they will. But if that's the case, well, Texas should kick ass in the SEC. Let's be honest.
Right. What I mean, you saw it at A&M in 2012 with the stadium and Johnny Maney and all that. Look at how that move rallies everyone to pull out the checkbooks.
Oh, they put a huge addition on their stadium. I mean, yeah, they changed their athletic department. They changed their identity. Now that's why they're so mad, because suddenly the thing is, that's interesting to me is the way Texas would enter the league if they do enter the league. A&M would not be little brother anymore. That would not. It'd be more like the little brother who grew up and started lifting weights, and Big Bro comes home and is like, "Oh crap, you can probably beat me up about half the time now."
But you know what? At least he's coming home, and they would be able to play each other again.
Yes. I mean that's the thing. Like A&M saying
Isn't
we don't
that
want this to
part of the
happen
end
is basically
game here?
saying we
Isn't
don't
that
want to
worth
play
it
you
for-
guys. Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, it'd be great. It'd be so good.
It would. And I think I have to think that again, it's not all about this, but I have to think if you're Lincoln Riley or Steve Sarkisian, like you at least have like direct evidence. You can go look at, okay, what has this been like for Texas A&M so far? Those two schools are recruiting against A&M for elite players all the time. Now, you could Texas fall into kind of the same deal where you're kind of winning 8 to 9 games, and having a really hard time breaking through? That's certainly possible with all the instability they've had. But I think you've seen what Jimbo has done.
10-2 puts you in the playoff, and they're going to be years, Max, when 9-3 in that SEC would put you in the playoff, in the 12-team playoff.
It's true. Yeah, if you can just be a pod champ, like you got a shot, right? I mean, but
I can't wait for those T-shirts.
Pod champs. But yeah, no, I think that you could look at that and say, okay, it could be that there's that clear level of difficulty, but I think what we're seeing with Jimbo Fisher is if you align it all and maximize all the resources and get the best players there, like then Oklahoma and even Texas, I think you're probably right, can take it to a level that they can. Are they already bumping? Is Oklahoma already bumped the ceiling here? Do they need to make this kind of a move to go to an even higher level?
We'll see, because like you said earlier, this could also backfire, and the hyper-competitive nature of the SEC makes it harder to ascend to that level, because now you have LSU, now you have Auburn, now you have Ole Miss, when they get good, can be pretty good. So that's going to be a fascinating thing if this happens. We got to qualify this with if this happens, because Max, if you'd told me when I woke up Wednesday morning that we'd be talking about this Wednesday night, I would not have believed you.
I would have done my whole day differently. I would have got like a workout in the morning. I would have sort of scheduled around this mess a lot better, you know?
This is because I didn't think it would ever happen again like 2010 and 2011, where it was just one thing after a boom, 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 boom. And if these moves get made, if Texas and Oklahoma, and it's not just if they leave for the SEC, if they leave the Big 12 for anywhere, if either one does it for anywhere, the dominoes are going to go berserk.
Yeah, where do you start?
Well, okay, so here's my question. If you're the Big 12, you got to shore up, right?
Yeah.
Or, okay, let me ask you this. If you're the Pac-12, is there anybody you want who's in the Big 12?
Oh, that's a good question. I would think so. This is certainly a fascinating time to be a brand new college commissioner during all this, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm curious what his view of the landscape is, being brand new at this.
George Kliavkoff, by the way, new Pac-12 commissioner, hell of a tweet on Wednesday.
Hell of a tweet.
Talking about how interesting this day has been for him. I don't think Larry Scott would have said that.
Welcome to the business. Yeah, I guess, is that where you start? Do you start with the Big Ten or the Pac-12 saying what fits us?
The Big Ten seems the most immune to dominoes. If you're the Big Ten, you're still making a ton of money. Maybe the SEC leapfrogs you if they add Oklahoma and Texas, but you're still number 2 and a close number 2 if that's the case. And I'm not sure adding anybody does anything for you. Because who would you add who really moves the meter at that point? Unless you could raid the ACC and get some brands out of the ACC, but I don't think you can do that. North Carolina's not going anywhere.
Who could the Big 12 raid?
The Big 10.
The Big 10. Okay, got you.
Like, I would see the Big 10 staying at 14 there because I just don't know who they get unless they could pull another like charter member of the ACC like they did with Maryland. Right. But I just don't see it happening. That other group seems to want to really stick together. So,
yeah, and Maryland and Rutgers have just set the bar so high. You know, that's tough.
Exactly. So, I don't know what happens there.
In the Big 12 standpoint, I think like in their ideal world, you get Houston on line 1 and
UCF,
SMU or somebody else on line 2.
Cincinnati.
Right, Cincinnati, whatever, sure. But can you do that? Can you do that and just close up shop, or are the vultures flying over you before that?
You got to move fast. You got to backfill fast, or the vultures will get you. And I think UCF, Cincinnati, from a brand standpoint, from a recent football success standpoint, immediately you get those. Houston is a logical fit. Now, do you want you could go to 12 at that point if you wanted to. I'm not sure it matters how many at that point, and you might want to go a little larger. So, who would you take after that? Who's 12 if you did that?
Look, I mean, SMU's been about as successful as Texas recently.
And another
pretty good.
Fit.
Why don't you just slip those two in and just call them the new Texas and the new OU? Yep.
Ponies and the Cougars, you got them, and then you would have TCU. I mean, the Iron Skillet game would be a conference game again. How about that? So it'd be.
And then Matt Campbell runs the league for a decade because he didn't have to go anywhere. Iowa State can just keep winning Big 12 titles.
Well, yeah, the Iowa State Cincinnati and Iowa State UCF Big 12 title games would be epic.